Hi guys, Kevin Lee Jacobs here. Welcome back to my kitchen. I'm totally hooked on Indian food, especially the flatbreads. Today I'm going to show you how to make paratha. It's a whole wheat flatbread that goes really well with everything from hummus to tzatziki to curried vegetables to curried lamb stew and just about anything else that comes to mind. It's super easy to make. Start with 2 cups of whole wheat flour. Then add a very generous pinch of kosher salt. Kind of mix that around with your fingers. You don't need any fancy equipment for this recipe. Then add 4 tablespoons of some neutral tasting vegetable oil. I'm using organic safflower oil. And again, with your fingers, which should be impeccably clean, start mixing the flour and the oil just until little pea-sized clumps form. Next, add 3/4 of a cup water. And again, mix this with your hand until a dough starts to form. Then gather it into a ball and dump the dough onto your work surface. I'm using a plastic cutting board so that nothing will stick. And this way I won't have to add any additional flour. And knead the dough for about 3 minutes. And when you knead, you just fold the dough over on itself and kind of push it out with the heel of your hand. So fold, push, fold, push, fold, push. What we're doing is developing the strands of gluten in the dough. Then throw a little bit of vegetable oil into the mixing bowl. Add the kneaded dough and flip it so that both sides are coated with oil. Then cover the dough with a sheet of plastic wrap, or even nicer, with a green and white kitchen towel. And let the dough rest for 15 to 30 minutes. This might be a very good time to take your dog for a walk. And my dough has had its nap, so off goes the towel. And then I'm going to knead the dough just for 30 seconds. So it's the same thing, fold it over itself and push with the heel of your hand. It's amazing, even though there's no yeast in this dough, it feels like there's yeast in the dough. It's almost springy. Okay, then I've put some whole wheat flour in a pie plate, and I'm going to break off clumps of dough, maybe like egg size or golf ball size clumps, and then you roll that clump into a ball and you flatten it into a disc. Then put the dough in the whole wheat flour and flip it so that both sides are coated. And then I'm going to set my coated discs along the sides so that I have room to do all of them. And here's the final disc. There we go. Then we're going to roll out these discs into 6-inch, sorry, I can't talk, into 6-inch diameter circles. And I'm using my French rolling pin. It's a tapered rolling pin. But you could use one of those very slender pins that Indian bakers tend to use. You could even use a narrow wooden dowel obtained from the hardware store. And if your discs are not perfectly round, don't worry. Sometimes circles end up looking like the shape of Texas. Then grab another pie plate or any plate and just set the disc inside and continue with the remaining bits of dough. If I was on the Food Network, someone else would be rolling out all of these discs of dough. Staff! It's perfectly fine to stack the rolled out dough. They won't stick together. To bake the paratha, you'll need a skillet. I'm going to use a well-seasoned cast iron pan, but you could use a non-stick skillet. You could even use a crepe pan. And you want to heat that over medium heat, and just until the pan is really hot. Okay? And take one of your discs of dough and brush it with vegetable oil. You could also use clarified butter instead of the oil. Totally up to you. After you've brushed the paratha with oil, you can season it, as I sometimes do, with black pepper and cumin. Or you could sprinkle it with some fresh or dried herbs. I might use thyme for some of my paratha today, and I think others I'll just leave plain. And then flip the dough oiled side down in the hot skillet. And I don't know if you can see, but it's starting to bubble up, and that's exactly what you want. So then lightly brush the top side with some more vegetable oil or clarified butter. And you want the paratha to turn just spotty brown on the underside. Then flip it over. Ooh, looks gorgeous. And if you want to speed up cooking, you can press the paratha down. Sometimes, if you're lucky, paratha will balloon up from the steam. But it will never balloon if you're making a video. Come on, balloon for Papa. Nope. And this is great. So then put this on a towel and cover it just to keep the paratha warm. And I think I will give this paratha a little sprinkling of dried thyme leaves. Flop! Oh, the smell when the thyme hits that hot skillet is formidable. It's also wonderful. Ooh, it looks pretty with the thyme. So I finished all of my paratha, and let me just show you how flexible these are. Nice spotty brown, and because they're flexible, you could roll them up. You could fill them with something and roll them up. You could even eat them like a taco. Very often people just tear off a piece like this, and they will spoon something wonderful. This is that tzatziki dip that I mentioned earlier. The texture is really wonderful. I happen to have some chicken tikka masala here, so I'm going to spoon some of this onto my paratha, fold it up, make a mess. really exquisite, and what an easy bread to make. So I hope you'll give this bread a try. I also hope I don't have paratha all over my lips. And give this bread a try. It's super, super easy, as you've just seen. And if you'd like to recommend another recipe for me to make, by all means, speak up in the comments below. In the meantime, please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.